So what's good? I saw had a chance to read Jay's quick post. I don't know if you got a chance to read that.
No, I hadn't. When did he post it?
Less than an hour ago, but he was really breaking down Delpreet's information, just kind of talking about profitability.
Was this on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have to look that up and check it out. But he I don't know if you saw that he was invited Friday. There's a EXP State of the Union chat that will be broadcast publicly. And it is going to be expstateoftheunion.com with Michael Valdez, Brent Gove, Glenn Sanford, and the Jay Kinder.
Pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. So it's 1 p.m. Pacific time. I think that's 3 p.m.
Central, and then 4 Eastern. So if it's 1 Pacific, 3 Central, 4 Eastern.
4. Yep. So 4 Eastern time.
That's awesome. It is way awesome. Yeah, super cool. What's good, everybody, man? If you got any questions, any thoughts, anything on your mind, feel free to jump in and fire away at kind of what's on your mind. I know, looking forward to that conversation. Friday will be absolutely fire. Very cool with Gove and Jay to be able to have that conversation with Glenn and Michael, and so that's way cool. It's way cool. Carrie, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. I've been using my new app that I've got on my phone for agent attraction. And I have some questions.
All right.
My one of my good friends that I'm in a mastermind group with is super interested in EXP. She is a real estate agent in New York, and I honestly don't know her brokerage's name. And I was curious about the three-way calls. And so here's kind of where my question lies. My upline is my sponsor, and then it goes two people that I've never met before, and when I look at it, it's in red. They've got red dots next to their name, like in their picture. Does that make sense? Does that mean that they are no longer active with EXP?
That's a good question. Where are you seeing the red? Like, where are you on?
So like, when I go through enterprise, okay, and use I don't have it open right now. I would have to open it to know where it is, but it's the only place I've been able to find my upline. And so I'm just wondering how I would, my personal sponsor is very active with me, and I know that I could get her to jump on a three-way call, but I also know that she's busy the majority of the time. So I don't think those other two agents are active, and that's what I'm trying to figure out is who are they and where are they?
Well, how far, who goes up above that?
The next one is Michael Reese, and the one above that is Jay Kinder, and then the one above that is, I believe, Albie. Is that right? Does that sound right? Yep.
So we're all, if our calendar aligns or allows it, I should say, we're all there to help you. So,
okay.
I just pulled up my EXP. So my.exprealty.com, when you're logged into that's the best place to see your upline partners.
And did you get there through enterprise?
Yep. Well, I get there. Yeah, I get there through Passport, and Passport, it literally gets you into all EXP apps with one login, and then you click on my EXP and you're in it. So that's where I look. Did you find it?
I found out how to change my password. Sorry.
So it looks like this.
Hold on. Yes, it looks like that. Yes.
Yep. And then
I've got 2 red dots in my sponsor number 2 and number 3.
Well, there's a possibility that those could be, maybe they left the company. I don't know. With the red,
Okay.
I don't think I've seen red dots ever.
Okay. Let me see if I can.
John, have you ever seen that?
No, I was just looking too. And to me, I would bet that they're no longer there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
those are empty spots. Basically in your line, but that's why you got 7. So
Right. Okay.
down to 5. We ain't going nowhere. And I think the best bet is always, to really try and go with your sponsor, and then
Okay.
and then move it on up. And once you get to know everybody, sometimes then you're going to be able to match it better personality wise, or like, oh yeah, I think this person might be perfect for Michael or Al or John. Just based on, where they're at. And are they a broker? Are they an agent? Are they brand new? And then you mix and match from there. But your sponsor should be, first person you go to, and then right on down the line, we're there to help you too.
Okay. And then I'm going to ask a couple of questions that are similar to last week, but last week I didn't understand what I was getting with the app. So I apologize if they sound the same, but I don't mean for them to. So it looks like the agent attraction app is specifically geared towards current real estate agents. Would you guys say that's accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Did you guys recommend to use the Sizzle or the Ed Milet with people who are not real estate agents?
I would say the Sizzle, but the Sizzle does talk about being on the roller coaster, the real estate roller coaster, one good month, one bad month, which probably won't relate to it. The Ed Milet one's going to be great for anyone and everyone, whether they're in real estate or not in real estate. I think that covers literally everything.
Okay.
Mindset. You can never go wrong, in my opinion, with the mindset asset videos that are in there.
Okay. And then do you guys always know the agents that you're contacting, or do you have luck with like a cold introduction with this?
I personally always build relationships first.
Yeah.
I don't do the cold route. The cold route never worked for me.
Okay.
Like recruiting me in the past to Keller Williams or other companies. And, I just believe that especially more today than ever, this is a relationship game.
Okay.
The reason I say more than ever was because that's just where everything, I'm not saying that it wasn't a relationship game back in the day, but you could, the old school recruiters that were really, really good and effective, they just went and met people at brokers' opens. They went to their open houses. They were like boots on the ground, old school, and they could, I'm not saying they weren't building relationships, but they had a decade or even 2 decades ago, it was just a different game. Social media didn't play, it even wasn't around two decades ago. And so, I think the further we go, especially when you're talking about what's the new generation, the 20-year-olds, is it Generation Z?
Yep.
Gen Z, they're way more about the feeling than they are the money, and they want to feel part of something, which is what's so great with everything that you have at your disposal, is because it's been built around building a community.
Right.
That's how it started out, building community. And
Cool.
and now you don't have to build your own community. Just make sure that they're plugged into this community, make sure yourself is plugged into the community. And that's where that feeling versus like you come at, somebody with the math, just straight the math. It's not always the math for them. It's more of how is it going to make them feel? So.
Okay. And then I have one more question. So in my hometown, it's a town of 3,000. And we have two main brokerages that are not EXP, and it's my goal to get those people as EXP agents. One would be considered, I think you guys call it mega, or it's a large brokerage. They've got about 15 to 20 agents. And then the other is kind of this on the smaller side. When I get them kind of in conversation, and we know each other, so it's not going to be a cold, it's going to be a warm conversation. We've got good relationships with each other, but when I get them in conversation, I'm going to need some help with that, just so you guys know. They've been doing it a long time, and I'm definitely don't know as much as they do.
So when you go into your app on this particular one,
Yep.
first of all, your goal, just like anything else, but especially with brokers, I'm assuming you're going to be talking directly to the owners of these indie brokerages.
Yep.
So keep in mind, there's only two reasons typically why someone would even consider a look at what they're not doing, or where they're, moving to EXP if they're with a brokerage. One would be to move away from pain. Maybe they just lost a bunch of agents and they're like, ouch, they're feeling a financial pinch. And they're like, all right, uncle, show me what you got. I give up, fine. What is this? The other would be to move toward opportunity. And sometimes it's both. For me, it was both. I lost 4 agents. I watched almost $500,000 in top end revenue walk out the door to Keller Williams. So I was feeling some pain, but I'm always looking for opportunity. So for me, it was both. But for some, the ones that I find the hardest to really get them to open their mind up to see it is when they're in no pain, like none. Like they just had the best year of their career. They're making great money. They don't want to mess that up.
Right.
Okay. So
one brokerage would be in that category, and I think the other one would be in the other category.
Right.
So
in your app,
yeah.
Under the invite tab, you're going to see it for teams and brokerages right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This teams and brokerages presentation. Not right off the bat, but eventually you're going to want to send them that.
Right.
When you feel that they're somewhat ready to be opened up. But I would also use the Ed Milet, use the Ed Milet, and then the other one in there. There is the burn the boats.
Yep.
And then you might want to use some of those testimonials.
Okay.
To warm this up, not just sending them out like random, you kind of set it up
on purpose. Yeah.
You got to finesse it.
Right.
But those are the assets that I would use.
Okay.
For a broker. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would also dive into the Expert Mentor series.
Okay.
The last one I did with Chuck Fazio, where he's got my favorite shirt of all time. It's just hashtag, it's just math shirt on.
Okay.
I mean,
I think I want to rewatch
brokers.
That one. I want to rewatch that one. Do you remember how far back that one was?
No, I'll get it right now and I'll share it with everybody.
What did you call that? I missed it.
Our Expert Mentor series.
I think that's it. Expert.
Yeah. So if you go to, remember, everybody's go-to resource is honeybadgernation.com. All the links, everything is there. If you don't have the app, it's the place to get it. But there's a link there that'll take you to the replay of all 226 expert mentors conversations that we've had. And they're all honey badgers. I have a few in there, like with my personal coach, Dr. Matt Townsend. Had a couple great conversations with him in there. I've had some EOS implementers, but for the most part, they're all honey badgers. Everybody in that group. So there's so many nuggets. But if you're looking for something particular, hey, do you have something particular with a conversation that might be helpful? Just message me and I'll be like, yep, I know exactly who that is that can help you. And I'm excited for a couple things on the production that we have lined up that I think is really going to be helpful for everybody. So those conversations are great. every Wednesday, except for this week where we have our quarterly kitchen table event. So we won't be on this Wednesday, but every Wednesday at noon Central, and it's there. I mean, I take notes. I'll put it that way. I take notes during those conversations.
Yeah, and anything with Chuck Fazio is
Okay.
going to be fire. And shoot, that goes all the way back to the beginning 5 years ago when it's almost 6. But when we first brought Chuck on and we had a live, Jay and I did a live with them, I was like mind blown. So when you're talking about an indie broker that has 15 to 20 agents,
Yeah.
I would still consider that on the small side.
Okay.
Chuck had 850, almost not maybe 900 agents.
It was over 900.
Over 900 agents in one office. I've never seen anybody bring 900 agents into one office, but Chuck and Angela did. And I've brought him on some calls with some brokers, big brokers. And when they hear Chuck explain why he brought his brokerage over and the fact that he lost half of them on the trip over, on that migration, not all of them came, but he now has rebuilt to over 8,000 agents. So someone would say, well, why would you move your brokerage, successful brokerage? It's in Phoenix, Arizona, one of the best, if not the best real estate office I've ever walked through in my life. I mean, remarkable is my jaw was open walking through it the whole time. I mean, just stunningly beautiful. Why would he? Because he saw an opportunity that he had a unicorn here and he couldn't expand that all over the United States. But when he set his company, which is Revelation Realty, when he set that up on top of our platform, it was his ability to then scale way beyond Phoenix, Arizona, which he has. And so you look at his expenses have dropped, his net profit has gone skyrocketed up. And it's because he made a decision. That's probably the hardest decision. I mean, mine was easy. I had 10 agents in my little brokerage.
Yeah.
Fairly easy decision. When you think about the decision you got to make okay, we just built this thing to 900. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall and listen to the conversation Chuck and Angela had, when they made the decision to do that. But I will never forget the night. It was a winter night in 2018 when Jay called me. He's like, we got a whale on the phone here. We need to get on the call. So Mike, myself, and Jay, it was Chris Johnson and him as well. And I was like, I didn't even know who Chuck was. And I learned a lot from listening to his reasonings. And you're going to hear a lot of them in that Expert Mentors chat. So definitely watch it first. I always say, watch it first.
Yes.
Find
Absolutely.
the nugget, and then don't just send it and say, watch this. Say, there's a nugget in here. And this is what I was like, blew my mind. It was this, and this, then send it. And that's sending it with purpose.
I'm throwing it in here right now for all of you guys.
Thank you.
Episode 106. Holy smokes. I can't believe how long ago that was. And I just put it in there. Episode 106, my favorite freaking t-shirt of all time. And we laugh in there and talk about it. And he goes, man, that's all it is. It's just math. And it really is, business is, it really is. The math equation is just offers minus no's equals yeses. And that's business. That's it. You want the formula? There you go. In anything you do. So if you're not getting enough yeses, it's because you're not getting enough no's. If you're not getting enough no's, it's because you're not making enough offers. And it goes offers to buyers, it goes to offers to sellers, it goes offers to investors, it goes offers to real estate agents, it goes offers to brokers. It's just it, man. Get the offers out. What up, cuz?
What up? I was actually just doing some math for an agent that we're bringing over. And I do it on every call, man. Always doing the math.
At what point, right? In Albie, and we were chatting with this before you jumped in, sometimes it's hard for us, like we want to go right to the math, but it's hard for a lot of people because there's that emotional connection. And I think, even through like our decision in Lawton, with that transition, when we went independent, you were out, like, I felt like I brought it from the depths. It became my baby as well. And
Yeah.
like the blood, the sweat, the tears, like, I mean, we went through it all.
Yep.
And so you latch onto that. And so at what point through the conversations and through the process, because it's just, you can't, like, you would never have gotten me leading with the math, right?
Yeah,
But if you
yeah.
would have relieved my pain.
Yep. Yeah. That is, and I've just had, 6 people commit in the last less than a week. So I've had a lot of really good calls, and I can tell you this, none of them are looking to change brokerages. Not one. All of them got to a certain belief that they got to a certain level of pain that they were looking for a solution, i.e. got on a webinar. And through that webinar, I got them to believe that there was a better way and that I could help them do that. And then we do the math, right? Then I understand their goals, where they're at, what they're trying to accomplish. And then I ask them on every single call, it goes the same every single time. I ask them, I get understanding of where they're at, where they're trying to go, what they're struggling with, what they're not getting, where they're at. And they already know that I can help them because they've consumed what I wanted them to consume. And they have a belief now that that there's a better way than what they're doing, and that I can help them do it. And then they have a couple choices. One, you can go buy a KV core, $700 a month. You can try to figure this out, that way, and pay $700 a month plus pay me $2,000, stay where you're at. Or, hey, you could just come partner with me. I'll do it all for you. So like that, and then the math becomes simple. It's like, listen, where are you at right now? This lady was at Coldwell Banker. She's on a 70-30 split. She's been in real estate 1.5 years. She's closed 3 or 4 deals. And she's going to cap it 16,000, be on an 80-20 split at EXP. The math is already in her favor. Plus she doesn't have to pay for the technology or have to pay me for coaching or for building out any of that. So like that, that objection is super low, once we get to that part of the conversation. They're telling me everything. It's not even a objection, really. They're just trying to understand, okay, well, what's it going to look like? I was like, well, it looks like you're going to be making a lot more money at EXP. Plus you're going to get stock, you're going to get this and the other. And so so she's open to it. So she's going to do her research. She's going to see, she's going to see everything I said, plus the things I didn't even talk about. But she's joining because she knows I can help solve her problem. And she had enough pain and trying to figure it out on her own that she was open-minded to, there's got to be a better way. Like that's, that I do the math once those things have happened. They had to have a belief that there was a better way, and they had to have a problem. They had to have a belief that there was a better way, and that I could help them in order for me to get to that point, I think is how I would describe that.
Something Jay may want that this is something sort of new, but interesting. On the last few calls, you had shared with me that people are asking for to talk to some other frontline references.
Yep.
Not something we've ran into before.
No, not. Yeah. So it was crazy. It happened like twice in one day. And thank you, Nikki, for helping with that. Thank you, Dan Hillsman, for helping with that. And I think I may have gave one other name out, maybe Joanne Vickers, but yeah. So it's got me more excited because we're working on this whole onboarding process. In fact, I got a call, the Massey's, they were calling it because they're kind of trying to make sure they're onboarding people successfully. And I was like, yeah, we're right in the middle of that. So let me jump on a call and we'll talk through it, what we're discovering. But like, the goal that we should all have, and we lose sight of this, I think, and I think a lot of people that just focus on recruiting have lost sight in what the real goal is. And this doesn't happen at any brokerage, by the way. Is like, our definition of success should be is how short of a time period is it that you join and you close the deal that you otherwise wouldn't have closed, right? Like that, if we can shorten that window to 60 days or 90 days, then a deal that they would have never gotten otherwise, then that is what success is. That should be the goal when you're recruiting someone, is did I help you get a deal that you wouldn't have got otherwise by plugging you in to the systems, the trainings and all that? And that they could point back and say, yeah, this was a great experience. This has been amazing. And it was better than I expected. If you do that with every person that you bring on, number one, they've been successfully onboarded, retention starts day one. Not when you're worried about someone leaving, it starts day one, and making sure you get them into production, making sure they're getting plugged into something that's helping them be more successful. I think that's that's the shift that I've had as we've been going through this onboarding. How do we onboard them the best way? But how do we have someone say, man, it was better than everything I could have imagined. Like, and that's the testimonial that you want. It's great for a testimonial, but it's also great for, hey, let me have you talk to somebody and you see what their experience was. And they experienced exactly what you promised. So that's, again, this is trying to, in creating products, which this is sort of in the same process of creating a product. If we were selling this product, we want to have that experience where we're making sure that every customer is delighted. And when you do that, you get better testimonials. I had one of my agents that I brought on that did the most research. She was brand new. She did the most research, but once she got onboarded, got leads going, got trained, went through the CHBA course, and has some confidence now that she wouldn't have otherwise had joining anybody else. She has leads that she wouldn't have had anywhere else. She's talking to agents that were in the class that were with her, and she's getting them on a call with me, and I'm making the same promise to the agents that she's talking to. And so, that's that, when you do a really good job, the product speaks for itself. So yeah, man, it's been fun. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's, but I think that should be what we're all focused on.
I got about 2 minutes left before we get a little app training in here. Right, Jay? Or
I think so. I believe so. I know. Yeah, I believe that they're joining us here at 12:30.
All right, good.
You want to kind of, unless somebody has a question to jump in, you want to kind of share your post that you just
man. Pretty badass. Like, if you haven't seen it, I think I posted it on Honey Badger Nation. It's on my page, Jay Kinder, on Facebook and everything else. And I've always loved this. There's this third party guy, Mike Del Preet, that does a lot of different analysis of brokerages and kind of different angles and stuff. And he's super interesting. And he's always been kind of pro EXP, it seems like. And he says he's not pro EXP, but like, the data is what the data is, basically. And there were some really interesting things in what he showed. One was, looking at, Q1 of 2023, the adjusted EBITDA profit per transaction. And when you look at all the companies that are out there, EXP is the outlier. We're the only company right now that's profitable in this market shift, which is evidence that our model is agile and we're able to profit. But even more importantly than that, the variable in transactions per agent is also less, meaning if you're at, I don't know which one was the worst, United or whatever was the worst, or maybe one of these other ones was the worst, but you can click on the photos and see all of them. But the variance, meaning that in this market shift, some agents' businesses are down 10% or more, while EXP's was one of the least, meaning our production per agent has maintained, even though we retain less money than most brokerages per agent, our agents are still getting provided the service, the training, and this and the other. You go back and look at, well, what about, and nobody talks about this, but on top of all that, our agents are making more money at EXP, the company's making more money, which means the stock's more valuable. And this is what people don't get. Like, I have people talking about LPT and Real and this and the other. These companies are not profitable. Go back and look at Compass 5 years ago. Their stock was at $30, their stock's at $3, or $20, their stock's at $3. When people are trying to say, hey, the stock's going to be worth something at these other companies, the historical looking at companies that are not profitable, those stocks go down in value. EXP is 4 times greater than what it was 5 years ago, right? We had a big run in the middle that was crazy, but overall, over the long term, which is the way you should think about stock, is if you got stock 5 years ago at EXP, it's now worth 4 times more than it was. If you bought stock as an agent at Compass, a company that's wildly not profitable, that stock has gone down dramatically in value. And so, we as a company pay $240 million on top of all of these facts in revenue share and equity to agents. And no one else can say that. No one else is doing anything close to that. Our agents are making more money. They're more productive. Every category that you can look at in terms of success, and the equity has more value at EXP because our company is profitable, which we're able to operate in an agile environment that's allowed us to, in a market shift, keep our agents productive, lower our costs, be more efficient. And those are, that was my takeaway from the whole post was, like, damn, like we're better for agents, we're better as a company, and we're better for investors and agents that are shareholders. It's a model that's proven, whereas these other up and coming, models that aren't profitable, the stock is useless, worthless. It's going to go down in value because they're not profitable, or they're going to have to change their model. Period. That's it. They do either change their model or they die. So, to me, it was just a third party pointing out, the real key, points to make the case for EXP is the company of the future and is really unbeatable. And that it was awesome, man. I thought it was really, really interesting information, but I tried to break it down and put some flair to it. So, share it, like it, share it with somebody that you're talking to, because I shared it with a guy this morning that I talked to last week, and he used to own a Century 21. He's like, dude, I wish I got into EXP 10 years ago. He's like, this is unbelievable, but he understands, he understands the challenge of owning a brokerage, not getting stock, paying royalties, all of that. And the difference at EXP is just, it's wildly different here. So very, very cool stuff, man. Lots of fun stuff.
Well done on the post. I believe that this is just a little nugget here that right now is the new 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The stock had reset. It became, now it just went up again, but keep in mind, companies like Real, some of our copycat competitors they started in a very strong, good market. And you don't have to have a great model to make it in a great, in a good market. But we were started in 2009 in this is a year that if you were in business in 2009, at least if you were deep in business like we were, it was not a year we like to look back at and smile, because we were going to bed wondering, Jay, I think that was the year you canceled your Netflix. I mean, yeah. I was worse than broke. I went from having some money in the bank to in debt, no money in the bank. And that was a really rough time. That's when Glenn started this company. It was based on a downward trend in the real estate. And that's why we've been able to sustain where, when you're fledgling along in a good market, if you can't make it profitable in a good market, what do you think these companies are doing right now? I mean, look at those numbers. I mean, it's going to be hard for them to keep the head above water, when, Compass is going to start to raise their splits. If they haven't already, they're going to raise their cost to their agents via the split. They said that publicly right on stage. It's not a secret. And Real's got to figure it out. And good luck figuring it out when the market's, starting to tread into this direction where, inventory is going to start going up. We already see agents are selling less houses than they did last couple of years. So don't think that that's only happening with EXP. It's happening, and it's happening even at a higher scale with some of our competitors right now. What are they going to do? Are they going to raise their splits? Are they going to, they're going to have to do something, because if they don't do something, they're going to be in some trouble.
Yep. I'll tell you too, if you've got agents that have left or gone over there, keep loving on them. Right. Mm-hmm. Because the conversations that I've had with agents that have left, that have gone to Real, are like, I believe in this type of model. So if this doesn't work, I know where I'm going back to. So like Al and I used to always joke, right? We believe they're all coming. So if you believe they're all coming, then why would you stop loving on them? Even if they went over there, just keep loving on them. Keep loving on them, keep pouring into them, keep adding value, keep checking on them. Hey, what are you guys wrestling with? How can we help? Because if it doesn't work, they believe in the model and they're going to be right back.
Yep. Yep.
Those were the exact words I had it with. I'll fill you guys in later, but that I had this week. So I was like, okay. Good stuff. I don't know, with our kind of our little change up with the rapid funnel team. I don't know if they're going to jump back in with us today. So we might want to see kind of what's going on there, but Savannah jumps in. That'd be great. If not, what questions, what do you guys have on your mind? Anything Christina, Dan, you guys are kind of wrestling with that you would love some input, some feedback on?
For me, I think it's just continuing the conversations with people, feeling stuck sometimes with like banging my head against the wall with some people, and just changing up the conversation, continuing it. Just, I think sometimes I just need some inspiration.
Yeah, so I would like I would share that post that I created. It's just another angle that people don't even normally think about. I think that's things you can share with people. I think the State of the Union that I'm doing with Brent and Michael Valdez and Glenn Sanford is another. Just hearing it from a different place,
Right. Yeah.
Information coming from different places. There's so much positive stuff going on with EXP right now that, just continue to share those things and be like, hey, just thought you'd find this interesting. And then, the other side of that is like, just learn to say next and go on to the next person. Right. Like, you can't force people to get it. And if you're not making any headway, then I would say, try to schedule a conversation with Al or with me or with John or with somebody. Just get someone else to try to take a crack at them. And I think that's, when I look back at the first year that I was here, I remember I looked after the first year and in my schedule once I had 999 three-way calls I had done. So calls with either individual agents that I was talking to myself or three-way calls. So 1,000 people that I talked to, and there's more than that probably because I did a bunch of calls that didn't go through that. So and I was thinking like, well, that was a lot of calls, but it really wasn't. It was like whatever, 3 a day. Like it wasn't really working that hard, but I feel like the value in those three-way calls was really high. So like if I talked to 10 people that were on the fence or whatever, I feel like I could help get them over the edge just from the angle that I would approach. And, I'm happy to do calls. People don't utilize me, but you can go on my, jkinder.com and schedule a three-way call with me. So like to say, hey, listen, I got a guy that can help you. I think he could help you. He used to sell 500 homes a year. If I could get him on a call, would you get on a call? Like just ask him any question you want, anything you want, and whatever things that they're holding back on, I'll get it out of them. And, and at the end of the day, like, I just know there's no way that they're going to be better off somewhere else and not with us. There's just no way. Like, I know there's not a problem that they have or an opportunity that we can't help exploit for them that's going to make it where they should stay where they're at. And so,
I think what would be amazingly valuable to me is to hear some of those calls. So I don't know if there's anything where, if I'm driving or whatever, where I just, again, that's sometimes just inspiration and hearing it a different way. And
we can go pull some, it's super helpful when you just jump on and follow the process and just transition it over to me and then just sit there and listen. Like, I think, when I talked about Dan Hill's been doing 150 three-way calls, 50 of them were probably just me and Dan and somebody. And then, Dan could have done those calls in his sleep after that. And then he started doing them for his team. But really, the leverage is in it not being you, right? Like you shouldn't do it for someone. You should do it for someone in your downline, but you shouldn't do it yourself, right? Like, because it's that third party, it's the psychology of, hey, I got somebody that can help you. It's not you, because they feel the resistance because they feel like you're just trying to recruit them. Me, they don't necessarily make the attachment that I'm going to make money off of them. And so it's more of a there's a little bit of trust that's transferred, obviously, and you edify someone else that they, and then I'm just trying to help them, right? Like, I'm not trying to recruit them. I'm just like, all right, what are you trying to do? And I just
I get
take
that.
a crack at
Yeah.
it, right? So like, but I think we could probably pull some of the more recent ones that you could listen to just to get a feel for it. But make it a goal of like, man, I'm gonna get 3 people on a call with Jay this week. Like, I love it when I see people in my calendar 3 times. That means I know they're out there recruiting. So
I've had people in my upline that I've gone on appointments or had phone calls with them, and I'm like, I'm a really good wingman or wing woman.
right.
And I know that I can have those conversations with people. It's almost though that I've been a broker for 7 years. A lot of the people that I'm still calling and I have relationships with, it's like they know Christina. It's just Christina. And then I get on a call with someone somewhere else and they're like, wow, who's this person? Like, wow. So it is that familiarity that I think here makes it a little tougher. So that I'm like, maybe I should just call people in other states and and I might have great success just calling random people in other states.
Yeah, I think here's what you have people that know, like, and trust you. They'll answer their phone when you call. You have relationship with. You have to focus on just getting them excited enough to get on a call with one of us. Like, that's really that's the secret to agent attraction. Like, they'll listen to you, be like, listen, just forget everything I've ever told you and just get on a call. Ask them anything. I'm telling you right now, if it doesn't blow your mind, I'll buy you lunch next week, right? Whatever you got to do to get them to the call, right? And so, and now if they're like negative Nelly, like, hell no, I won't go, like, I don't want to talk to those people, right? Like they've got to be open-minded. Like, just be open-minded, ask him anything. The guy's making made $4 million last year in revenue share. If there's anybody knows how to help him make more money, I think it's this guy.
Well, for instance, someone that is, I would consider a pretty good friend of mine. She is an amazing recruiter. She was at an office, recruited, I believe it was about 200 people there in just over a year. And then she is at another place, and I'm fairly certain that this company is probably only still operating, and it's a major franchise. Locally, I think they're probably only in business because she keeps bringing people in, because the management there, like, it's, so she thinks that she's like saving it, and she's awesome. She really is. But she's drinking their Kool-Aid, and she's, I just had lunch with her a couple weeks ago, and she's like, you need to come over here. Oh my gosh, like, imagine the possibilities. And I'm like, yeah, but you could come over here. And she said, now I'll go ahead and say she's at Keller. And she said, I would never go to EXP because it is a pyramid scheme. And I like to be associated with a real estate company. And I was like,
that's
Keller
pure
Williams.
ignorance. That's pure ignorance at its finest. So it's just pure
Like,
ignorance.
you're at Keller.
And you feel,
Well-
and yeah, first of all, yeah, it's the same model at Keller Williams, number
Beauty.
one. Go ahead. Albie.
No, you're saying that's the beauty. You go ahead. I was just saying, like, that's exactly what everyone was saying about Keller Williams 10 years, 15
So
years
it
ago.
seems like it would be so easy.
Yeah.
And I invited her to build, and she can't go because her son has a soccer thing. And like, she's great. She would be awesome, but I can't seem to make that connection. So maybe I'll just try and get her on a phone call with one of you guys. Because
Yep.
we're friends. So she's just like,
Actually, so, and this is kind of like goes to the beginning of our call. We were talking about mixing and matching. And I'd have to think about who might be the right fit. But like, I've never been at Keller Williams. Jay never been at Keller Williams. Michael has. And it's really even not about that. It's just her mindset.
Yeah.
When she says, you should come over here, you'd be great. And you're like, well, I'm open-minded about, how I grow my career and the ways that I grow and want to scale. Are you?
that's what I told. Actually, I had lunch. I said, you know what? Amazing. If Keller is where I need to be, I'm all about opportunity. If you can explain this to me and it makes sense, I will come there with you. Absolutely. But if it doesn't, would you be open to hearing about why I'm at EXP and see if that makes sense for you? She was like, deal. Well, nothing happened. Either way. She's like, I see it, but it's just, I don't like the feel of it. It's not a real estate company.
She doesn't know the feel of it. This is why you're smart in trying to get her to build. Someone like her, you ain't going to convince her. There's
Yeah.
going to be no waving your magic wand and convincing her of anything. For
Yeah.
someone like her that's 100% bought in, something bad needs to happen at her current brokerage where she felt burned in some way or whatever, or you need to get her to an event. The event does the heavy lifting. The event changes the whole thing without you doing anything.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say, is that when you find yourself talking about EXP, you've probably talked too much, right? So like nobody wants to switch brokerages. They'll come up with
I'm
every
not
reason.
really- Yeah, I haven't really though. I haven't really talked about it. I let her talk and
Right.
I just, yeah. I haven't really got into it much.
Right. But when you start talking about EXP, she has preconceived notions of what that is, and she shuts down, right? So it would be better to not talk about EXP at all and figure out what she's trying to do with her business, right?
Mhm.
And say, now I think I might have a way to help you do that faster. Would you be open to it? Right? Because now it's in alignment with, we're not talking about EXP. We're not talking about changing brokerages. We're talking about, what are you trying to do? What is your goal? Where are you at today? Where you want to be in the next 5 years? Because that's something that if they'll tell you what those goals are, that we can help them accomplish through the model of EXP. But they don't understand that. It's like Chinese to them. They don't understand the stock. They don't understand revenue share. They don't understand the opportunity. They don't understand what partnering with us and all the coaching and training and the things that they get access to. They have no clue what it is. They think they do, but they have no idea. So when they hear EXP, they hear, and they shut down, right? So just be careful not to make it about EXP and to make it about them and what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And then, use that as leverage to get them to watch the video, the partner video, or use that as leverage to get them on a call with someone. And I think you'll have a lot more success, because when I talk to people about EXP, they shut down too. Like they don't want to hear it. So like,
And
it's just,
I don't think I've got 2 people coming on and one person that came on last week or a couple weeks ago. I didn't talk to them about revenue share or stock or anything until after they were coming on, because I feel like it's just confusing and it's more stuff. And so it was more like, here's an added bonus for you if this interests you. And then I did my second training event last week, open to anyone. And we had, I think, 7 people again show up, but all of them, thank you, Al, booked strategy calls with me. And during the event, a couple people said, so what, because I introduced myself, but I didn't say what brokerage I was with. And none of it is branded to EXP at all. It's just me and Prosper and Profit. And I said, well, I'm at EXP, but I'm not here to talk about that. We are brand agnostic in here. I'm focusing on your social media. So, and I think that was well received by everyone. And like I said, every single person booked a strategy call with me. So again, I'm not going to talk about it. I think I'm just having conversations with people about how can I help you? What are your goals? And then if they're like, hey, I feel like Christine is super helpful. Tell me more about where you're at, then I will absolutely do that. But that is my current strategy.
got it. I love that.
Great job. Great job. See, Christina, she just follows instructions and look at what happens. Strategy calls. I love it.
Yes.
He's got a great coach.
And does have a great coach. Been my coach and one of my best friends. So yeah, you got a good guy in your corner. So I had a call. I know we're wrapping up here. Not a call exactly. We had an event. We had Phil Stringer come in for an AI class that he taught, which by the way, he crushed. And I had lunch. I scheduled before that event. I scheduled a lunch with the #1 Century 21 team in the nation. He happens to be here in Cleveland, but I've known this guy forever. Great guy. In fact, Jay, do you remember the dinner that you and I did in Cleveland? I invited all these big team leaders and everything. And it became a complete shit show because the one guy got drunk and started mouthing off, and it basically ruined the whole dinner. You remember that?
Yeah.
It was our first, we weren't even 12 months into the company. We're like, all right, Jay was coming for an event. Like, let's do a dinner. I'm going to invite a lot of like some brokers, some big people all to this dinner. We're going to take them out to a great steak dinner. It imploded. And we learned, certain people you don't invite and give them liquor because it didn't come out very good. But that beside, this guy was at that event. I was like, hey man, let's just catch up and get some lunch before the AI event. It's like, yeah, cool. So we went, and like within 5 minutes, I wasn't ever going to talk about EXP at that lunch. He did within 5 minutes. He goes, hey, just want to tell you before we get into this, I'm sure we're going to talk about EXP, right? And I'm like, I mean, if you want to. I wasn't planning that. I was just going to see how Mike was doing, like I don't ever bring it up until they're ready, and you'll know they're ready because then they almost always bring it up because they're expecting it. And then when you actually beat their expectations and not bring it up, they're just like, I'm quite sure he was going to bring that up, but he didn't bring it up. Wow, maybe he actually really does give a crap about me and not recruiting. You see how that works? It's like magic. And so anyways, I just wanted to share that with you because it's just yet another. We laughed about it actually, because then he brought up the dinner and he goes, I just want to tell you about that dinner. He's like, I knew you guys were onto something then. I knew it. His wife happens to be part owner in the brokerage he's in. She's a minority owner, but an owner nonetheless. And he is bringing it up. He is actually going to be doing his research and wanting to, like, he said, he's like, dude, our franchise agreement's up here. I am going to try to get them to the table with you. And they have 500 agents at the C21, but they run it like cloud-based, just like EXP, but without all the stock and the revenue share and the fun stuff that we have. So anyways, just want to share that little win. That was my win.
It's a big win. I want to just emphasize one point, just keep coming back to it. And Mina was asking some questions, some direct questions here. The number one KPI, and Jay and I would always joke with this, is I would just look at his calendar and I would see who's in his calendar the most. And we knew who was going to have the most growth from three-way calls. Dan Hillsman. And then it was Levi, right? And it was James. And those guys just took off. And then Andre. And so the thing is that don't try to answer any of the questions. I'll say this again. Me and Jay would coach and teach and train our agents. And then Michael Reese would pop in and say verbatim the same damn words. And our team thought it was the greatest thing ever, the greatest thing that they've ever heard in their entire life. And so sometimes it just goes on deaf ears. So it's always more powerful to get that other person, even if they're saying the same thing, they just hear it differently. And it's a little distinction, right? Jay might use a word a little bit different. Maybe Michael used a word or a story a little bit different, and it resonated and it connected for him. So don't try to, especially, I mean, just man, I could confuse you, or I've got a great friend that can articulate this in 5 minutes that would just have you crystal clear on what this looks like. Use third party. I mean, it is the key for you guys. Takes it all off of you. Plus you can learn. That was my point with Mina, was referencing kind of, we're talking about the math. I'm like, just, if you got somebody that's close on the math, get them on the call with Jay and just learn what he does. And, just like what Jay was referencing about Dan, Dan's was on so many of those calls. I mean, he can do them in his sleep today.
Yep.
Hey, I think that we're gonna message. I'm gonna get with Miss Holly, and or Allison, and we're gonna get some It's Just Math Honey Badger t-shirts made for everybody.
Right. I love it.
Yeah. Check it out. It's a great conversation with Chuck. I mean, it was 100 episodes ago, but it's still so powerful and relevant today. Awesome.
Awesome.
Cool. You guys are great. back to the basics, like what Dan was saying right here, right? Stay plugged in, make sure you're getting on these calls, making sure you're getting your people on these calls, and you know, jumping in. We don't have a problem repeating ourselves. So
I
get
got
in
a
and
quick question.
rock it.
Just,
Yes, sir.
just 'cause I'll be quick, but I do have a meeting tonight that I'm meeting a lady. She's big producer in Atlanta. She is with EXP. She's been there a long time. She's not my downline, but recently she was reaching out again about agent attraction strategies. And so, I mean, this lady's crushing it in production, like high, but she also said, hey, I've got a Zillow. I got Zillow in Atlanta, need some agents, and she's going to let me sponsor some agents to Zillow leads, but they don't have to go on her team. So I think there's an opportunity there to like position myself as a guy that can help you. If you're already doing Zillow leads and you can't figure out how to get off of it, let's get over here, super low split with her. So she only takes 20%. So Zillow's 35 off the top, 20%, Mass about 42%. So my plan is I can maybe have some conversations about with current Zillow agents, you could come over here, I could sponsor you, but then we'll get to work on new construction, reduced property ads, and then you can keep 80% of that stuff because you don't go on her team, and then maybe get you to 100%, and then let's get you off of Zillow someday and build a business. So anyone have any strategies or thoughts on do's or don'ts with that? With my meeting tonight, it's tonight. That's why I hopped in here at the very end of this meeting.
So you're saying that this is, you're meeting with her, she's already with EXP?
Yeah, she's been with the EXP a long time. She's real big producing lady. I mean, she said also, this surprised me, she's closed $1 million, $2 million, and $3 million deals with Zillow this year in Atlanta. I'm like, really? I did not know that happened. Yeah, but I guess the attraction for me was when she said that she would let me bring agents to EXP as the sponsor, and then she would put them on the Zillow leads, and that I could maybe help her a little bit with her agent attraction. I'm like, I'm open.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like you bring them aboard and she'll help them get productive.
Yeah, that's my
Great deal to me.
that's my challenge, right? So I can get them on. It's just I don't love the that's a hire for me someday, but that's the part that I don't understand, right? I came to the company, figured it all out, and sold houses. How come you can't do that too? But that's not really the case with half the agents.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it.
Maybe throw her, a referral of one of your FLAs that are struggling now,
Yeah. And production and all her agents are all pretty producing agents. So I don't know. Tried that before with a guy in Pensacola. It didn't really work out, but maybe this is the right agent to do this with. Not really sure. She came to me. I didn't come to her. So maybe it's a answer to some prayers. Who knows?
Yeah, I like Al's idea of getting a couple people that are struggling. I mean, if you got people that are not FLA, I mean, they might even need to be joining the team.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's really more that new blood, that new conversation that I can have, and maybe there's a bridge there. I think there's value in having a bridge for people already doing Zillow leads. Not that that's really my avatar, but a lot of those people can't get off that 30% split with that Zillow team because they got to have that next deal. And I've had good conversations helping them understand we can help you build a business, but at some point you got to burn the bridges, right, Al?
Burn the boats, baby.
Burn the boats, yeah, burn the boats. So, all right, just thought I'd throw that out there in case you had something I was missing.
Good luck with your meeting, brother.
Look, appreciate you guys. Need anything, let us know. Let's keep rocking.
A great day.